The Simpsons is a cultural phenomenon and arguably the most significant and influential piece of American animated media ever created. At peak popularity in the late 80s and 90s, Simpsons fever spread throughout the world, and with that came the wonderful world of licensed and unlicensed merchandising. From clothing to trading cards and toys, everywhere you looked, you would see the face of a Simpson. In 1991, the first Simpsons video game released on home consoles, thus starting the first entry in a long list of Simpsons video games. By the early 2000s, Simpsons fever may have cooled down. However, the licensed video games kept coming. During the holiday season in 2001, EA released The Simpsons Road Rage for the PS2, Xbox, and Nintendo Gamecube. Otherwise known as that other Simpsons car game, Road Rage is essentially a Crazy Taxi clone with a Simpsons skin. This may as well be my personal favorite video game of all time, due to the fond memories I have with it as a kid. Back in 2013, when the modern console wars were first taking off with the release of the PS4 and Xbox One, a young version of me asked his parents for a Nintendo GameCube for Christmas, and they delivered. My dad had bought a GameCube that it came with a lot of games off from eBay, back when retro games were still appropriately priced. Within that lot contained console staples like Super Smash Bros. Melee, Monkey Ball, and the hidden gem known as The Simpsons Road Rage. Today, I'm going to play through The Simpsons Road Rage with a twist, and that is the inclusion of retro achievements. For those of you who don't know, Retro Achievements is an online service that adds modern-day achievement hunting to classic retro games. In order to master this game, we will have to complete all 59 achievements on hardcore mode, which prevents the use of save states and encourages an authentic gaming experience. These achievements range from obtaining character-specific high scores, completing mission mode, and earning $1 million. So without further ado, let's begin. The plot of this game is simple. Mr. Burns is attempting to corner the Springfield transportation market with his new line of nuclear-powered buses. These buses come with adverse health effects to the community.
Please kill me.
That poor man. I hope someone does kill him.
Therefore, Homer decides to create his own taxi service. There are 3 main single-player modes in the game. Road Rage is the arcade-style Crazy Taxi mode, and that's where we will start hunting the achievements. We will select everybody's favorite Simpson on Evergreen Terrace to begin.
What the hell, you fucking... Look where you're going, you idiot!
For those unfamiliar with Crazy Taxi-style games, you drive around and pick up passengers, dropping them off to their destinations around the given map. You receive points by timely arrival and completing objectives along the way. There are 2 main objectives that can trigger every third passenger. Road Rage mode is where the goal is to smash into as many overworld objects as possible, and Safe Driving mode where the goal is to avoid the oncoming traffic. For successfully completing these additional objectives when dropping someone off, you are given additional time and money. $1,000 for Road Rage and $250 for driving safely. One would think that driving safely in a game like this would be the harder objective. However, the damage you do in Road Rage mode stays affected throughout the rest of the round, so you need to be careful about creating untimely future obstacles for yourself. While driving, we also have to look out for Smithers and Burns trying to get in our way, along with those nuclear-powered buses. Our first round of Road Rage lasted about 8 minutes with Grandpa Simpson, and we netted $8,900 and unlocked the first achievement, Flaming Moe's, for accumulating our first $1,000. One thing I absolutely love about this achievement set is that many of the achievements are named after classic Simpsons episodes. Since we hit the first reward goal, I'm presented with the option to select a new character or map. I decide to go with a new character, being the not even remotely dorky Professor Frink.
That monkey is going to pay.
The reason we go after Frink so early is because he drives the hover car, which many believe is the best cart in the game. The hover car has good speed, acceleration, and is less prone to getting caught on obstacles, as there are no wheels touching the ground. However, we do have to be wary about the hitboxes from the wings on the car. Something to note as we are hopping into the second match with Frink, I'm playing Road Rage mode on hard difficulty, which reduces the initial timer down to 40 seconds. The benefit of this is higher point totals throughout the round. During this round, we unlocked our second achievement after dropping off Otto. We received the USA achievement for receiving 5 fast bonuses in a single round. By the end of this round, we eclipsed the $10,000 mark earned in Road Rage, which unlocks the Deep Space Homer achievement. Here, I decide to unlock the next map in the game, being Springfield's Entertainment District. I continue grinding Road Rage for the next almost 2 hours, just trying to improve at the game, and during this time I had unlocked the following. And Maggie makes 3 for earning 30,000 in Road Rage. Boy, everyone is stupid except for me for getting a Gazelle rank, which is over 12,500 points in a round with Homer, driving the sedan in Evergreen Terrace. The achievement set creator put in these custom character achievements for every character in the game. Most of them are pretty straightforward, but there are a few tricky ones I will address later. We received more total money achievements, including Homer the Heretic for earning 50,000, 22 short films about Springfield for earning 75,000, Who Shot Mr. Burns Part 2 for earning 100,000, The City of New York vs. Homer Simpson for earning 125,000, and finally Hit and Run for knocking down all 8 bus stops in a round of Road Rage at Evergreen Terrace. For anyone using this video as a guide, the 8 bus stops are as followed. Right in front of you at the very start, at Skinner's house, right past the school by the Eat Deer sign, past the church, at this intersection, behind the grocery store, in front of Patty and Selma's, and finally across from Lovejoy's house. From here, I decided to take on the game's mission mode. There are 10 missions, and most of them are very easy, hence the low point total for most of them in Retro Achievements. I'll be going through these fairly quickly, as many of them can be completed on the first try. Up first is Willie's Paper Shredder, where we are tasked with running into the 12 newspaper boxes in the Entertainment District. Next up is Homer on the Run, where we just have to make one drop-off playing as Bart at the nuclear plant. Mission 3 is Barney's Rage, where we have to hit the 12 mascots downtown, followed by Otto's Driving Test, where we have to take down 15 streetlights at the Entertainment District. Next is Snake's Day Off, where we run over 20 barrels of nuclear waste. Then, we play as Grandpa Simpson, as we need to hit the 12 garbage cans at the Springfield Dam for the They'll Never Take Me Alive achievement. I remember having trouble with this one as a kid, but I got it first try here, so maybe I was just bad at video games back then. Mission 7 is Save the Hover Car, where Frink must drop off Mayor Quimby at City Hall downtown, while dodging Burns and Smithers. Smithers actually hits me here, and I still complete the mission just fine, so the time limit isn't that tight. Mission 8, Not the Trees, is the most challenging mission in the set, but once you go through some trial and error to find the right route, it is not so bad. Lisa needs to run into the 24 piles of logs. Each stack of logs counts towards 3 points, so it is technically only 8 overrolled items. The route here is after hitting the first pile, immediately take the left at the fork in the road. After hitting the next 2 piles, take a quick right to hit the 4th, but then we want to turn around and continue going back on our original path. You will hit the logs at the world's largest toilet, Golden House, and 2 more in front of Mr. Burns' mansion. The next mission is Krusty's Escape, where Krusty must hit 15 street signs. I will admit, this one actually took me 4 attempts, but it's mainly just trying to find the right optimal route on an unfamiliar map, sort of like Mission 8. Finally, the last mission is Burns Arena, where we play as Homer and try to make a mess of Burns' garden. This mission can be tricky due to the top-down mechanics. We rarely ever see this view in Road Rage mode, so it can throw you off. After we break the 20 pieces of Burns garden statues, we officially complete the mission mode and earn a quick 10 achievements. For completing mission mode, we are rewarded with the Homer. This is the car Homer designs, in the Season 2 episode, "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" After this is where the real grind starts. The main challenges of this achievement set are the character-specific Gazelle rank challenges, the map-specific Madman ranks, and the time involved to reach the $1 million. The next achievement I had my eyes set on was the Flanders Gazelle rank on Evergreen Terrace. I eventually got the score needed to earn the "What Can I Ding Dong Diddly Do For You" achievement, along with the following score-based achievements. Last to Exit Springfield for 150k, King Size Homer for 200k, and Homer the Great for 250k. During this grind, we also ended up unlocking the remaining stages. At this point, it had only been 6 hours since I had started this save file, and I had only played Road Rage mode on Evergreen Terrace. Almost this whole time I was going for the Madman rank, which requires an end-of-round score of over 15,000. I had finally gotten a really good run with Homer in the sedan of all characters after mainly playing with Professor Frink. There were several times where I thought this run was dead, but I was able to pick up a passenger as the round time expired. My main strategy was trying to make my way to the gas station, where I knew either Chief Wiggum or Ralph would be waiting for me. At this spawn point on the map, these characters will request to go to Wiggum's house, and this drop-off location is on the other side of the map. For longer rides, more time is allocated to the round timer to make these drop-offs. Therefore, I wanted to use this time to tally a high score for a single trip. I would also get lucky, so it would end up that an Avoid Traffic Safety Challenge would pop up on these drives, giving me an additional 250 points and additional time. If you can make it safely through the alley and through that first intersection, the safe driving bonus is easy to secure despite the long drive. During this run, the I Don't Have Insurance Chivo also procted, which is for successfully completing 5 bonus point trips in a single round. At this point, it was time to move on to the next map, being the Entertainment District. On this map, we have locations like Moe's Tavern, the Duff Brewery, and Grandpa Simpson's favorite drop-off spot, Grandma's World.
Take me to Grandma's world. I'm horny.
Get ready for the ride of your life.
I spent the next 30 minutes getting familiar with the track, unlocking the 300,000 point achievement along the way, Homer Badman. At this point, I called it a night and would pick up where I left off the next day. The next day, I continued with Madman attempts for the Entertainment District. I started off using Bart because there was a Gazelle rank achievement for Bart on this map, and I was hoping to knock both of those achievements out at the same time. I think Bart is one of the harder characters to play as in this game. His car, or should I say Martin's car, the honor roller, is difficult to drive in my opinion. This vehicle is from the episode Saturdays of Thunder, where we see that Homer is actually a good father, and learn that Bart's hero is 3-time Soapbox Derby champion Ronnie Beck. I was not getting anywhere, so I switched back to Frink, where I had better results, including this run that ended at 14.3 thousand, because I got pinned by Smithers and Burns at the very end. However, on the very next run, I was able to redeem myself and pull a 21,000 run out of absolutely nowhere. I was able to get the Madman in Entertainment District achievement, and in the same run eclipse past 400,000 points for the Springfield Files Award. After a short break, it was back to the Gazelle attempts with Bart. I was finally able to get the Gazelle rank, Bart Simpson style, but barely. My final score on this achievement run was only 12,590. Even though this was not the achievement I spent the longest time on, it definitely felt like it had the smallest margin for error. Despite this, I was still nowhere close to being done in the Entertainment District. I still had 2 more character Gazelle ranks to get, and the bus stop achievement which I had started on next. The bus stop achievement, Drunk Driving, requires you to knock down all 12 bus stops in a single round of Road Rage. My strategy to completing these bus stop achievements was to practice in the third mode of the game, Sunday Drive. This mode is essentially an endless sandbox mode of each map, but there is no scorekeeping and no time limits. I did wish, however, that Burns and the nuclear buses weren't in Sunday Drive, but I can see why they are. This is probably the mode I spent the most time in as a kid. Just driving around, exploring the maps, reading the signs and buildings, and finding all the hidden jokes that you don't notice during the actual gameplay. In Sunday Drive, I would attempt to find all the locations of the bus stops. I'd then write them down on some paper, and then route in optimal order to knock them out during an actual round. The locations of the bus stops in the entertainment district are as followed. Right at the start behind the spawn point, at the gas station, at the hardware store across from the girls' club, right under this Burns construction sign, on the main road's Java the Hut, immediately after in this patch of grass, under the Better at Moe's sign, right in front of this fence down the road, the coffee shop, in front of the insurance building, the Fiesta Terrace single living, and on the corner from the Girlesque. The grind in the entertainment district continued until I got the achievements for the Gazelle ranks for Apu and Mr. Plow. During the Mr. Plow run, I had crossed over the 500,000 mark to receive the Marge vs. the Monorail achievement. I was now halfway to the million, and I was only through 2 maps. It was at this point I knew I would hit the million before I had done all the special character-specific challenges. But from here, I was moving on to the Springfield Dam. My first attempt on this map was absolutely awful, only scoring 3,300 points. This map only has 9 drop-off locations, but many of them are spread very far apart from each other. The defining feature of the dam is the jump. It was common in the early parts of learning the map to fail this jump and essentially be an immediate run killer. It wasn't until I later discovered that you could drive up the side of the dam instead of using the designated pathways back up, which took much longer. For me, intentionally falling off the dam and driving back up the side became a strategy when I had drop-off locations across the map, especially going from Ranchero Relaxo to Quimby's Mansion. In the end, it only took me 40 minutes to get the Madman achievement for the dam, followed by the Gazelle rank achievement for Marge immediately after. The next map was the power plant, and many consider this to be the most difficult in the game. This map is split into 3 sections, 2 different sides of the town separated by the power plant in the middle. The reason this map can be difficult is because the perimeter of the power plant is fenced off and you cannot drive through it. The only way to get out of the power plant is by taking the roads, which have a lot of traffic and can be out of the way. Therefore, if you are only following the guide arrow, it was not uncommon for the arrow to lead you directly into the barriers you could not pass. It only took me an hour of attempts to get the Madman of the nuclear power plant achievement. I think this is when I finally was starting to actually get good at the game. My strategy for this map was to stay in the power plant as much as possible and hope to get lucky with the character spawns and the drop-off locations that would keep me within the loop. For example, going from the cooling towers to the fuel rod storage and then to the office or generators. I then got the Madman rank with Snake and the Little Bandit, which also unlocked the character-specific Gazelle rank achievement. She needs premium, dude. Premium. I continued then with another character-specific Gazelle achievement with Lisa, and got the Electric Speed achievement easily. The last achievement I could currently go for at the power plant was for hitting all 10 bus stops during a round of Road Rage. After routing this in Sunday Drive, and changing the difficulty back to easy so I could have more time, this was an easy achievement. The 10 bus stops are located first at the community center, in front of the baseball stadium, then the remaining 8 are all around the blocks from the Springfield Mall. When doing these achievements, you have to be careful on not running into the bus stops too fast, or they will not register as being hit. A good rule of thumb is to wait until the additional time bonus is off the screen, then it will always be safe to run into them. We will be back to the nuclear plant later, but for this session, I had also eclipsed the 6 and 700,000 goals as well, unlocking the You Only Move Twice and Who Shot Mr. Burns Part 1 achievement. The next map we are playing on is Downtown, and this map is absolutely huge, with 45 drop-off locations. I started to learn the map with Frank because this is his map for the Gazelle rank achievement. After some time playing, I got the achievement, Oh dear, my wife is going to kill me, for getting over 12,500 points with Frank Downtown, but I was still missing the Madman rank. I decided to switch to the other characters needing the Gazelle achievement for Downtown, being Grandpa Simpson in the Shriner's car and Otto and his school bus. Grandpa Simpson is an easy character to play because of his small vehicle that handles pretty well. I quickly got the achievement Old Man Yells at Cloud. Otto's school bus, however, is really big and has awkward handling around tight turns. Adding the fact that Downtown is super busy with the traffic, you are hitting basically everything in sight. Eventually, I got a good run going with Otto that included hitting a couple clutch bus stops to save the attempt. I eventually got a score of over 14,000, which was more than enough for the Otto's Gazelle rank, the bus that couldn't slow down. This was my best score downtown, but I still didn't have the Madman rank. I went back to using Frink, and then got the achievement an hour later after getting the Gazelle rank with Otto. Looking back at it, I'm surprised it took me this long after getting such a good score with a worse character. At this point, after several hours in downtown, I had also gotten the 800,000 point and 900,000 point achievements. The last available map in the game is Springfield Mountain. This is another map with a low number of straightforward drop-off locations, but I believe this was the hardest map in the game. For example, whenever you're heading towards a cemetery or Burns Mansion, you have to take this narrow curving road, and it's really easy to fall off from due to all the traffic. And perhaps the most difficult location in the game is jumping over the Springfield Gorge to get to this one parking lot on the other side. In the early attempts, this is where my runs would always die. I'd actually spent 3 hours on this map, with my highest score only being around 11,000. This was not even close to getting the Gazelle rank with Chief Wiggum, who I was playing with at the time, let alone get the Madman rank. I'd been playing on this map for so long, and I had not made any progress. During this stretch, I had even crossed the $1 million mark, which unlocked the Homer's Enemy achievement and the win condition in Retro Achievements. Officially recording my time to beat the game at 14 hours and 55 minutes. However, at this point, I still needed an additional 10 achievements for the set mastery. It was around this time where I started looking for help, whether that be old forums online or YouTube video guides, but nothing was helping. That is when I discovered that there were comments in the retro achievements under the specific challenges. The Madman at Springfield Mountain achievement had no comments, but the Groundskeeper Willie Gazelle achievement had comments on how to cheese a high score on the map. It was this comment from some lazy gamer that showed me the way to beat the map. It says you can go over the gorge to deliver a rider and then press Z to reset your car. Even if you're in the parking lot, you press Z, your car will automatically be placed back on the opposite side of the jump. From here, you can reverse to find a customer who will always request to be dropped off on the other side of the parking lot. Then it's just repeating the cycle until you get enough points for the Madman rank. After learning this trick, I immediately got both the Madman rank for Springfield Mountain and the Gazelle rank for Wiggum. Suspect is hatless. Repeat, hatless. Up next is what many consider to be the hardest achievement in the set, and that's the Gazelle rank for Willie. This achievement currently has the lowest number of user completions in the set. It is achievements like this that set the Gamecube set apart from its PS2 counterpart. Here, we are going to utilize the same cheese strat we used for the Madman rank, but it's much more difficult to do. Willie's tractor is probably the worst vehicle in the game. The tractor has poor speed and poor handling, making the jump over the gorge seems almost impossible if you're driving normally. The one redeeming feature of Willie's tractor is the initial acceleration, basically any startup of an A button press. You'll see here when the A button is tapped, Willie will jerk forward but then slow down after reaching a steady state. To make it over the gorge, you want to time this A button press while we are going up the slope of the ramp. It takes some practice to get consistently, and during my attempt, I'd even missed the jump a couple of times. However, with enough jumps, eventually all of the passengers you drop off, you'll receive the fast time bonus. Therefore, you'll be gaining time with each completion. This gives us enough of a buffer to allow us to make a few mistakes along the way. If you are having trouble timing a single acceleration boost at the ramp, I actually found it easier to do multiple acceleration taps while approaching the ramp. The first boost when picking up the customer, then after the tunnel, followed by one at the rocks, then finally at the ramp. I felt creating a kind of rhythm game out of it made it just much more consistent. After getting the Willie Gazelle achievement, the last thing to do at Springfield Mountain was to hit all 6 bus stops in a round of road rage. Despite being the hardest map in my opinion, this is definitely the easiest bus stop achievement because of the linear path all the stops are in. The first bus stop is at the Tire Fire, next is at the world's largest toilet, then at the Golden House, in front of Mr. Burns' mansion, in the far corner of the parking lot across the gorge, and finally at the gas station. Hitting all of these gave us the Mountain of Madness achievement. At this point, the hard work was done. We already had the $1 million. We overcame the Springfield Gorge with Willie. Now it was just time to clean up some of the achievements missed along the way. I had 4 character-specific Gazelle achievements to go, and got them all within the first, 4 or 5 attempts or so. We have, I will personally spit into every 50th burger for getting a Gazelle rank with Krusty at Evergreen Terrace. Gin and Tonic, do they mix? For getting a Gazelle rank with Mo at the power plant. A battle against the bottle for the Gazelle rank with Barney at the Springfield Dam. And wait a minute, this sounds like rock and roll for the Gazelle rank for Reverend Lovejoy. This left 2 achievements, both to be done downtown. I had initially skipped the bus stop achievement downtown because we have to hit 22 of them in a single round of Road Rage. I knew this would take some serious routing and Sunday Drive, along with some good character destination RNG during the actual round. I once again turned the difficulty back to easy for some additional time, then started my attempts. Once again, for those using this as a guide, I'm going to list the bus stop locations, but because there's just so many, I'm going to go through them quickly, so here we go. We have across the police station, by the Veterans Building, at the Cathedral, in front of the Clown College, under this Channel 6 sign, under this Burns Construction sign, on the corner of the Fountain, the Savings and Loan, the Sit and Rotate Room, anywhere but here travel, across the Channel 6 building, 3 around the lawn across from City Hall, at the start of the parade, by the red car on the trailer, at the drive-in, DMV, across from the Select Popcorn Truck, at the bus station, on the corner of the escalator to nowhere, by the spinning sign, and finally at the library. And for doing this, we received the Downtown Derby achievement. This leaves us with 1 achievement left, and it's a freebie. Playing as Bart, we have to knock off the head of the Jebediah Springfield statue downtown. I start up my last game of Road Rage, go over and pick up Millhouse, and we make our way over to the statue. Here, we just have to run into it to knock off its head. The last achievement, the Telltale Head, is mine, and over 20.5 hours later, I have mastered the Simpsons Road Rage for the Nintendo Gamecube. This game makes my 3rd mastery on retro achievements, and it was my favorite one yet. Like I said in the intro, this is my favorite video game. I'm always coming back to it every few years or so on my physical hardware, so I'm glad I could experience it in a new way. There are already Road Rage videos on YouTube for this game, but they are covering the PlayStation 2 set, so hopefully with me covering the GameCube set, makes this video not redundant. If you're using parts of this as a guide and are still having trouble, just let me know and I'll try to offer any assistance I can. Also, this is my first time recording gameplay and editing video and audio, so if I continue to do things like this, hopefully I should get better along the way. If you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and I'll leave you with this tier list I made of the Road Rage characters I like to pick up in the game. This isn't about drop-off locations or, how good the car racers are, but just based solely off the dialogue and voices and voice acting and how funny I think it is. So, thanks.
Thank you. See you later.